Hey everyone, let's talk about AI. It's everywhere, right? It's shaping our social media, our job applications, you name it. But as these systems get smarter and smarter, we have to ask a really important question. How do we make sure they're being built the right way? Today, we're going to dig into the ethics of how machines actually learn.
On the surface, that seems like a pretty simple question. But the answer, well, it's incredibly complex. And it's so important, because if we can really wrap our heads around how an AI learns, we can start to see how it fails. And even better, how we can build it to succeed.
So let's get right to the heart of it, the training process. You can think of this as the secret classroom where an AI forms its entire worldview, its habits, and even its biases. It all starts right here.
Think of it this way. It's kind of like a diet. The data an AI is fed is what fundamentally shapes what it becomes. So if it's constantly consuming flawed or incomplete information, guess what? Its behavior is going to reflect that. This isn't just a one-time thing. It's the absolute foundation of the AI's mind.
And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? Every single decision, every pattern, every glitch or flaw that we see in an AI system, you can trace it right back to the data it was trained on. In a very real way, that data is the DNA of the algorithm.
Okay, so what happens when that foundation, when that data isn't perfect? Well, it doesn't just create a little error. Oh no, it kicks off a cascade where one tiny flaw can balloon into a huge systemic problem.
I want you to focus on that one word, amplify. This is so key. An AI doesn't just copy the biases it finds in its data. It actually makes them bigger. It magnifies them. It can turn these subtle societal problems into hard-coded, automated rules.
This is probably the most famous and frankly powerful example of this. Early facial recognition systems weren't built by evil people trying to be biased. Not at all. They were just built on data that wasn't representative of everyone. And the result? A technology that worked great for one group of people and pretty much failed for another, creating a system that automatically and unintentionally made inequality worse.
And here's how that domino effect, that cascade, actually plays out. See, it starts with a simple problem in data collection. From there, the AI learns the wrong patterns. Then it amplifies those existing biases. And before you know it, you have an automated system making unfair decisions on a massive, massive scale.
Now that sounds pretty daunting, I know. But it's not hopeless. The solution, though, it requires a big shift in how we think. We need to move from just building powerful AI to building responsible AI. And that all starts with setting up an ethical framework we can all trust.
You see, building AI we can trust isn't about some magic bullet or a single piece of code we can fix. It's about committing to a set of guiding principles, a sort of ethical roadmap that shapes every single step of development, from the first idea all the way to deployment. So at the very heart of responsible AI, you've got these three core pillars: transparency, so we can understand how these systems work; fairness, so they treat everyone equitably; and privacy, so our personal data is respected. And these aren't just buzzwords, okay? They are the absolute building blocks of trust. Let's break each one down. Now, transparency, this doesn't mean companies have to spill all their secret algorithms. It's actually much simpler and way more important than that. It's about being clear when you're talking to a chatbot. It's about explaining why an AI denied someone a loan. It's about giving people meaningful explanations, not just lines of code.
All right, next up is fairness. And honestly, this is probably the trickiest one of them all. And why is that? Well, because we humans often can't even agree on what fair really looks like in the real world.
Just think about an AI hiring tool. What's more fair? Should we program it to make sure the final group of people hired reflects the diversity of everyone who applied? That's going for equal outcomes. Or should it just apply the exact same strict criteria to every single resume, no matter what the final numbers look like? That's equal criteria. Yeah, there's no easy answer, is there? It really depends on the context.
And finally, we've got privacy, which, let's be real, is a huge one in a world where AI just eats data for breakfast. Responsible AI doesn't just put a lock on the data it has, it's about collecting as little data as possible in the first place. It works on a need-to-know basis, and, this is the big one, it keeps you, the user, in control of your own information.
So we have these principles, right? But there's one more piece to this puzzle, and it's a little counterintuitive. The key to building better artificial intelligence is actually to rely more on human intelligence. This statement right here, it's a huge shift in how we think about this stuff. The goal of responsible AI isn't to create full automation that kicks humans to the curb. Instead, it's about creating a really powerful partnership between people and machines.
See, humans bring something to the table that AI, at least for now, just can't. Common sense, ethical judgment, a real understanding of context. In really high-stakes areas like medicine or the justice system, sure, the AI can crunch all the data, but a human expert has to be the one to make that final call. Human oversight is a feature, not a bug.
And this chart really shows you what that ideal partnership looks like in practice. We let the AI do what it does best, all the heavy lifting, sifting through insane amounts of data. But we reserve that crucial role of oversight, of adding context and making the final judgment call for a human expert who can bring their real-world wisdom to the table.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to get one thing straight. This isn't a problem we can just solve once, check a box, and forget about. The technology is changing so fast, and our ethical approach has to evolve right along with it.
Ultimately, you gotta see this as a journey, not a destination. Building AI that we can actually trust is a constant process of tweaking, questioning, and improving. It takes nonstop vigilance and a real commitment to getting it right, day after day. And look, this journey, it can't happen in a vacuum. It demands that the technologists building these systems work side by side with ethicists who ask the tough questions, with policymakers who set the ground rules, and most importantly, with the very communities that will feel the impact of these technologies in their daily lives. So really, it all comes down to this. The AI we build tomorrow is going to be a direct reflection of the choices we are making right now. By baking our values right into its DNA, through things like transparency, fairness, and human oversight, we can shoot for a future not where we're controlled by our technology, but one where our technology helps us all become a little bit better. The question isn't just how we build this AI, but who we want to be when we do.